You ever get that gnawing pit in your stomach like something colossal is unraveling right before your eyes, but no one's got the guts to say it out loud? Like watching a slow-motion car crash, knowing the wreck is coming, but still hoping and praying it's just a nightmare. That's the scene in Detroit right now, a city with a heart that beats blue and silver, holding its breath as whispers crawl through every locker room corner and swirl behind the polished windows of Ford Field's war room. Executives are holding their breath. Insiders are whispering about a fracture slicing through the soul of this Lions team, one that's been building toward a future so bright it almost blinds you to the shadows creeping in. And then the name hits Alex Anzalone the beating, roaring heart of Detroit's defense. The man who carried so much of this team's newfound swagger on his broad shoulders, sitting on the sidelines, his helmet untouched, his pads gathering dust while the clock ticks louder each day of training camp. It's explosive because this isn't just a linebacker holding out over a contract. This is the captain whose roar transformed our defense from the league's punchline to a fortress. The emotional leader who made everyone around him sharper, hungrier, faster now caught in a standoff that could snap the fragile thread holding our championship dreams together. We've stared down heartbreak since '91, felt the endless ache of seasons that bled hope dry, seen coaches come and go, talent wasted in what felt like a never-ending cycle of rebuilding and fading glory. But this time feels different. From the ashes of the Caldwell years, through the dark days of expectation deferred, this Lions squad is standing tall on the brink of something monumental, with a look in their eyes that says, "We're done waiting." And yet here we are, wondering if the man who stormed through offensive lines, battled in the trenches, and led huddles as a four-time captain could be the one to stall this entire movement, caught between loyalty and the cold calculus of contracts. The timing couldn't cut deeper. Each practice miss is a lost opportunity to build chemistry, especially for the younger guys who are still finding their way. What if this standoff cracks the defense's backbone just as critics begin to whisper that Detroit's rise is a mirage? What if the hesitation at the negotiating table turns into a missed shot at glory, and the window slams shut faster than any of us are ready for? But here's the kicker. The man himself isn't hiding in some distant mansion counting his chips. No, Anzalone's been at the facility, cloaked in professionalism, talking candidly with reporters. A veteran who knows his worth and refuses to settle for less, not out of spite, but out of respect for what he's built here. And Dan Campbell? Oh, he's not losing his head over this. The coach who's become the embodiment of Detroit grit is standing firm, calm, deliberate, letting the world know we're good. We're still talking. Those words aren't just smoke. They're a masterclass in how a championship team handles turbulence, a sign that behind the scenes, there's no battle of egos, no splashy ultimatums, just hard work to keep the Lions' soul intact. When Campbell says, "He's one of our dudes," it's not fluff. That's respect forged in fire and blood on Ford Field. It's the lifeline that holds this team's spirit together, telling us that the door isn't closing. It might just be bending toward a breakthrough. But what if the truth is Messier? That the hamstring injury he's nursing is both a physical hurdle and a metaphor for negotiating pain points that every franchise's heartbeat knows well? What if this is a moment that defines the Lions' very identity? Will Detroit fold under the strain of business, or rise as a beacon of loyalty and grit, keeping their captain standing tall for years to come? And here's the emotional punch. The man says he wants to retire as a Lion, pouring his roots deep into the city, demanding not just a paycheck, but respect. That bond, that love for Detroit, could be the very thing that saves us from a meltdown. Fans, you feel that weight, that pulse of real connection that transcends money and contracts? This is not just a business deal. It's a saga about heart, about legacy, about the chance to build something that outlasts the scoreboard. Imagine if this conflict resolves with every player seeing that Detroit values what they bring, treating its heroes with dignity. What message does that send to the rest of the NFL? Shatter the silence, Detroit. Because what's happening right now is the kind of storm that will define legacies, ignite rival fears, and shake the very foundation of Ford Field. This isn't some peripheral story. It's the quiet rumble before a seismic eruption. A brutal test of loyalty, grit, and pure unfiltered pride as Anzalone's standoff edges the lines closer to a crossroads that could either forge a dynasty or fracture the soul of a city that's bled for every inch of respect it's fought tooth and nail to reclaim. Think back, remember that 0-16 season, the endless nights of heartbreak and hopelessness. Or how Dan Orlovsky scrambled out of the end zone with nothing but clutch instinct and grit, forever etching that iconic safety into Lions lore. We survived. Calvin Johnson's retirement, his unspoken prayer that Detroit would finally treat its stars like royalty, not just commodities. Barry Sanders vanished into the sunset, leaving a void that no draft pick could fill, a symbol of loyalty and sacrifice. That haunted our every move. Jim Caldwell's firing left wounds that still sting, a stark reminder that losing patience and failing to nurture a culture of champions can set entire franchises back years. Yet somehow, we clawed our way back, riding the wild card thrill of last season's redemption and the hope of what's possible with a young, hungry roster. But now, this bit of smoke and mirrors Anzalone, the heart, the roar, the lion who tore through offenses, the emotional backbone of Detroit's defensive. Resurgence sits on the sidelines, not a word about his contract, just a steely glare and a refusal to fold. The locker room's tension? Palpable, the veterans quietly, desperately hoping this isn't a harbinger of discord that could unravel everything. And with NFC North rivals circling, itching to pounce on any crack in Detroit's armor, this moment isn't just about money. It's about identity, legacy, and the very soul of a team that's been battered and bruised but refuses to die. Behind closed doors, whispers of front office gambits swirl. Will they blink? Will they stand firm knowing that Anzalone's leadership isn't just about stats, but about instilling a relentless fire in every young Lion who is learning what it means to fight for a city that's waited decades for a true contender? The coaching staff? Tactical chess masters cautiously navigating the storm, sensing the tremors beneath the surface, knowing that pushing too hard could blow the entire effort apart or rally the team into something transcendent. Step back, look at the parallels, remember when the Lions narrowly missed greatness, that fumble against the Seahawks, or that wild card collapse that left fans shattered. We're haunted by those moments, so close yet so far, and now the weight of history presses down on every decision. What if Anzalone's injury isn't just physically real, but represents something far messier, an allegory for the pain Detroit football has endured? A symbol of resistance against a system that so often undervalued its heroes? Could holding out be more about demanding respect, about ensuring that this city's voice is heard loud and clear before the next chapter is written? And as the clock ticks, every missed day, every missed tackle, every emotional exchange in the war room becomes a gamble with futures on the line. Who blinks first? What if this isn't just a contract dispute, but a turning point that will forever mark the Lions as either a franchise that values its champions or as the franchise that let their heart bleed out for scraps? Imagine a scenario where Anzalone's stance sparks a domino effect, setting a precedent for loyalty, respect, and GM-paid battles, yet at what cost? Could this internal struggle morph into a loss more devastating than any NFC championship? Setback? Will the locker room rally around him or shatter into factions vibrating with uncertainty? Every strategic decision by Holmes and Campbell now hangs in the balance, risk losing their fearless leader and risking the unraveling of a nascent championship mindset, or doubling down and risking alienation in a league where power dynamics shift like quicksand. The question remains, how deep is this wound? Will it be sewn shut amidst the sweat and grime of practice, or fester quietly, poisoning the very core of Detroit's dreams? We sit on the edge of history, fans clutching every ounce of hope, while the city's heartbeat races faster than ever. Because if Anzalone's silence signals surrender, if loyalty is broken in the shadowy halls of management, then what's left to fight for? The next sound you hear isn't just the ticking of a clock. It's the thunder of an unspoken war about to explode. Or maybe, just maybe, the birth of a legacy that refuses to die. And as the shadows lengthen and the music of doubt hums louder, are we witnessing the final stand of Detroit's pride? Or is this just the opening salvo before the roar that will shake the NFL to its core? Because if this storm passes unresolved, if the fuse isn't extinguished, what's the price the city will pay for greatness deferred once again?